All right. Let's flip the page now and talk about security. So President Bola Tinubu today has stated that his order that police officers currently attached to prominent individuals in the country be withdrawn and redeployed to areas ravaged by insecurity stands. It says that order stands and it cannot be taken for granted. The president was addressing concerns raised over the security implications of the withdrawal, and the president had directed the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunjojo, to work with the IG of police and the NSCDC to replace the affected police personnel with NSCDC officers. Take a listen to President Bola Tinubu.
Police officers from VIP or VVIP. I honestly believe in what I said, and I called on the IG, and I hope the Minister for Police Affairs is here. So if you have any problem of security because of the nature of your assignment, please contact the IGP and get my clearance. The Minister for Interior should liaise with IGP and the civil defense structure to replace those police officers who are on special security duties, so that you don't leave people exposed. NSA and DSS to provide further information and form themselves into a committee and review the structure.
Let's get a take on why this could be a difficult task and why the technicality of this might be important, the import of this, the implication on our national security. I'm being joined by a very senior fellow in research on counterterrorism and extreme violence. And of course, a security consultant, Dr. Bulama Bukart, is live for us from Kampala. Thank you so much, Dr. Bukart, for joining us tonight on the program.
Thank you, Sean.
Why is it so difficult, and it looks like a dilly-dallying over this matter? Isn't it not supposed to be a straightforward matter that withdraw the VIP protection? The report we have is about 100,000 or so out of the less than 400,000 VIP protection in the country of police officers in the country. But the police have said less than 12,000 have now been withdrawn. In fact, something that really caught me, that how far IGP Egbetokun went is that 2 days ago or 3 days ago, I think it was on Monday, along Maitama Road, there are special forces, detectives, and special operatives of the Nigerian police force who are barricading the road and looking out for VIP protection. And I saw a few people who were being accosted and their police protection were withdrawn. Literally, we saw that happen. But the president insists on this. There are those who say, be careful on this kind of order. What is your take on this?
Look, Sean, this is a very clear presidential order which should be straightforward to be implemented. Unfortunately, as you said, we are seeing clear problems and challenges and sometimes dilly-dallying and dithering and delaying in implementing this presidential order. And let's remember that this is not the first time a Nigerian president will make an order like this. It was previously made under President Buhari, but it was never implemented. And now President Tinubu has made the same order, and we are seeing problems. You are right that the estimate says about 40% of Nigeria's police forces, which are around 370,000 the total, about 40% of them are deployed to VIP protection and administrative duties. And so withdrawing just 11,000 of them as the IGP did is not enough. But I think where the issue lies, Sean, is the presidential order itself needs to be clearer. And what I want to advise is for President Tinubu, instead of making just a statement, make a clear presidential order which should be gazetted, which should clearly withdraw protection from every single Nigerian except a clearly defined group of people. Because right now we are saying withdraw from VIPs, but who are VIPs? Do they include senior politicians, for example? Do they include senior or top judicial officers? Do they include governors? Who are VIPs? In other countries of the world, in other democracies, what you see shown is a clear order with a clearly defined group of people, usually the head of state and top judicial officers and a few others who are entitled to police protection, while the remaining elites and politicians and businessmen source for private security or rely on the security that every country, every citizen relies on. And I think that's what we need to implement. I think President Tinubu needs to clearly define who are still entitled to the protection. And if possible, Shaun, I think we should even have a law passed by the National Assembly criminalizing deploying police officers to private individuals as private for hire. And I think that is what is going to prevent, that is what is going to ensure proper implementation right now, and also prevent taking these people away in a few months' time and still deploying them to VIPs.
But give us an understanding, if this is enforced, what would be the impact on policing in Nigeria? Would anything change?
It is going to have a fundamental impact, positive impact on Nigeria's security and policing. So in counter-terrorism operations, Shaun, what the military does is to reclaim territories. They can only reclaim territories, but it is the duty of the police to occupy, to hold, to secure, and to ensure that the territories that have been reclaimed have been administered properly. So when the military, for example, fights bandits in northwestern Nigeria or Boko Haram terrorists in northeastern Nigeria and they reclaim a specific town or village, they cannot be expected to stay there and police the town. If they did that, they will be stuck in the war, because Boko Haram will only run to the next village or town and start implementing whatever they want to implement. And so you need the military to constantly move to continue to push the terrorists and the Boko Haram terrorists and the bandit terrorists. But the only way you can do that is to get a police force that has the capacity to occupy, to secure, and to help civilian authorities to administer the territories that have been reclaimed. So it is their duty, for example, to restore law and order. It is their duty to investigate crimes. It is their duty to protect the civilians that are returning to the reclaimed territories. And it is their duty to enforce laws and orders in the areas that have been reclaimed. But if you allow the military to continue to guard and police towns, then you will be stuck in one place, and therefore bandit terrorists and Boko Haram terrorists and other insurgents will continue to administer parts of Nigeria's territory. So like I said, this can be a fundamental step. It can help in war front, in helping in enhancing the frontline capacity of the Nigeria police force. It can help in the war against terrorism and criminality. It can help or strengthen intelligence, surveillance, and all of those capacity that we need. And so it is a very, very important policy. And if implemented, it can be a game changer in quite a lot of places in ensuring that we get hold of, or we continue to hold, the territories that our military is reclaiming right now.
If you look at the numbers, it does look like the mathematics might be incorrect. Based on what President Bola Tinubu, he is the commander-in-chief, he should have all of the facts and all of the details of all of the security numbers of boots that we have on the ground. But if you look at the mathematics, it may not be making sense after all. Why? About 100,000 or so is the report that has been published of the police officers who are in VIP protection, out of the less than 500,000 police officers that we have in Nigeria. If the president has asked the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Otunyojo, to then now say we substitute that capacity and take it to the NSCDC, the Civil Defense Corps. This whole Civil Defense Corps is less than 100,000. And these are the men and women that are supposed to safeguard national assets and national resources or infrastructure in Nigeria. And that those who will be asking, where do you want to get the numbers? You're going to jeopardize the primary role of NSCDC. How do you make sense of that mathematics of President Bola Tinubu saying this duty of about 100,000 or so people, take it to the NSCDC who lacks in number the capacity?
Yeah, so Sean, there are quite a few issues you have raised here. Number one, the mathematics doesn't work in terms of the police officers that have been withdrawn as against the numbers that are estimated to be deployed to have been deployed to VIPs, because number one, like I said, the policy itself is not very clear. When we say withdraw from VIPs, does that include political office holders? Because right now we know that the Senate President has a large contingency, the Speaker of the House, even individual senators have police officers attached to them. We know almost all judges have police officers attached to them. We know sometimes even commissioners in states. And we know that in some places, state governors have police force that is equal to the force of a whole area command. And now, when you say VIPs, who are VIPs? From whom should the police officers be withdrawn? I think that should be clarified. Secondly, I think even for police or for political office holders like governors, like the Senate President, who are entitled still to police officers, the presidency should have a policy clearly defining how many should be attached to them. And so if you did that, then there will be a clear policy on who is entitled and how much are they or how many are they entitled to, as against the haphazard policy we have right now. This is the first issue. The second issue, Sean, is that I don't support replacing the police officers that will be withdrawn with the Civil Defense Corps. Because like you said, the civil defense under the law creating them have their own defined, clearly defined roles. And if you withdrew them from their roles and deployed them to VIPs, then you are clearly undermining their primary duty and you are undermining the law that created them. But additionally, even if you wanted to do that, they do not have the numbers to cover. And to be honest, Sean, security should not be a privilege of the few. It should be a right of all Nigerians, and therefore our police officers, our civil defense and other security and law enforcement agencies and paramilitary, they should be deployed to protect all Nigerians. We should not be selecting a few Nigerians as if their lives are more valuable than other Nigerians and be protecting them.
Give me a moment, Mr. Bukart. I'll go on a break, and when we come back, there are in fact some fundamental issues that we need to raise about our national security, what the president said, and the manner in which we need to go forward in our national security architecture. We'll be right back after this break. Thanks so much, everyone, for staying with us. We've been speaking about President Bola Tinubu's position on his order of withdrawal of VIP protection to allow those who are in that unit be able to do regular policing activities. The senators equally said they are probing the selective action or enforcement of that order. Dr. Bulama Bukart is a specialist in this area and has been speaking with us. Going forward, Dr. Bukart, you've given some position on how this can happen. Part of what the president also raises an issue today is the conflict between farmers and herders, and he has asked that we should find special location in the country. He understands that the state governors, by law, by the Land Use Act, have the power over the land in their territory. But how do we resolve this age-long crisis of farmer herders clash? And the president is very concerned about it. This is on one part of the violent situation we see in the country. But to wrap up this conversation, if you were President Bola Tinubu, what would you be doing urgently?
Yeah, so Sean, part of what happened that contributed to the escalating farmer herder crisis is the loss of grazing reserves. You know, when the British colonialists left, they clearly designated farms industrial places or areas and towns, as well as grazing reserves. But then after they left, as a result of urbanization, climate change, stuff around insecurity, and expansion of commercial companies into many places in Nigeria, grazing land was lost. And so it is important to introduce policies that will restore either grazing reserves or ranches, so that farmer haddock clashes would be reduced. I think if you have a policy at the state level clearly demarcating land that is for grazing and land that is for farming, that will go a long way in dousing the tensions and reducing the violence. And clearly, northern Nigeria has vast territories of land that are barren, that are not in use right now, that we can deploy to either farms or as grazing reserves. Now, but then when it comes to the policy we were talking about, Sheun, they say charity begins at home. You know, recently Professor Wole Soyinka made an observation that goes to the heart of this VIP protection issue. He made an observation on the convoy level security forces that accompany the son of the president, one of the sons of the president, wherever he goes. I think the presidency and everyone around President Tinubu should not see Professor Wole Soyinka's statement as a personal attack. It is an attack on a broken system that requires fixing. And if the president's orders are serious, then the president should start from those who are closest to him. The president should clearly order that security, the convoy level security his son goes around with, should be withdrawn. And we know that the president's son may require protection, but then maybe you need 2 or 3 DSS officials with him and a little police officers. And because of this, this practice by the presidency and state governors who you see deploying police officers to their children and wives, you also see other people deploying police officers to their children and wives, and we need to stop that. And the first place to start that is from the president's son. Charity begins at home.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bulama Bukart, for your time tonight. And that's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. God bless Nigeria.